Okay, we will be getting ready to start the webinar here in just a few minutes. Let some other people get in. I know people are coming in from Google Plus and a couple other resources as well as this webinar directly. So I'm going to give a few minutes and we will jump right back into and get this done, expecting this to be about 1 hour tonight. Okay, welcome to the webinar. We still have a few people coming in, but I'm going to, just in the sake of time, we're about 2 minutes after, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this webinar, how to find your next job and the job after that. This is primarily going to be something that I have been asked many times to do. And some of you know who I am, others don't, but just to show you that yes, I am a real person in reality, and this is not a pre-recorded webinar. If I can figure out how to turn off the screen share, yes, there I am, and I'm in our office/studio, and we're going to talk through. And I'm Dale Callahan. For those of you that are not, I am in Birmingham, Alabama, in the nice hot weather. So we're going to jump on here. You should have a chat room. If you look to your right, and I'm looking over at our monitor, if you look to your right, you should have the ability to chat and pop up some information. If you will, just put in the chat box where you are from. I think we have a lot of people from Birmingham here, but I don't really know that. So let me see if I can type in the chat box and see, just get things running here. I don't know if it posted or not. Okay. Anyway, we will. If you will post in there, and we will see what the public chat box looks like here in a minute. And let's see. And if you will let me know, whoops, I can't spell. If you will let me know from can you hear can you hear me? And whoops, it would help if I actually enabled the chat box. I'm so sorry. I knew something looked wrong. Okay, the chat box should be on there now, so you should be able to get to it. Let me try mine. And there is a little bit of a delay in the audio and the video here, so so yeah, if you'll let me know where you are from. Okay, perfect. So we got somebody coming in. Hello, Christy from Nassau, and John, and David, Chad, Garish. I'm not sure if I destroyed your name or not, but okay, we got a whole bunch of people coming in. A bunch of you are from this great state of Alabama, it appears. So thank you for joining us. Great, we can hear loud and clear. Great to hear. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in. What we're going to do is I'm going to do a lot of this by PowerPoint, and I've got some questions that came from some of you. Hopefully I've answered it. If not, you can always type a question in there in the box. So let me just jump right into do a screen share here. And this is not pretty stuff. This is stuff that we teach an awful lot of, but we are going to be doing, well, I spend a great deal of time helping people, especially the technology people, to finding work. So I'm just going to jump in here and just say what's going on. I want to kind of give you a background, first of all, to think about something, and I'm going to ask you a question in just a minute. How many people have you contacted this week? And now I'm assuming let me back up and let me just throw a question at you. Where are you at in the job search? And there should be a poll that's going to come up here in just a moment. Let me look at my monitor here. Where are you at in the job search? And there's a place there on the right hand side over there next to your chat room should be to ask you this question. And if you'll just poke in there, and you're not really voting, but which one of those applies to you, and we'll just kind of see what kind of responses we get here, and that will kind of help me know where we all are and what we are doing and what's going on. So you should have an opportunity there to vote, and let's see. Let me try it myself to make sure it's working. Yes, it is working. And I will end that poll here in just a minute and give you guys a chance to think to get that answered. Then I will stop that and we will go back. So the question is for you to think about how many people you've contacted this week in a job search. We're going to talk about job search secrets here. And I'm not really asking you to answer this right now. Just think about it. If you have a sheet of paper or something in front of you, just write down the answer. How many people have you contacted this week for your job search? And a related question here is, what are you investing in your search? And by investing, I'm going to put, say, dollars. How much money are you investing in your search? This is a job search is a marketing endeavor. Just like a company trying to market products and services, you are trying to market yourself. So I'm going to go over here and end the poll, and let's just see where we all are. You should see if it comes up for you. You should be able to see the results of that here in just 1 minute, if I've got it shared. Again, it helps if I make things public. Okay, so if I'm looking at the poll numbers, and let's see if I can share this. Well, I don't know if it's going to share it with you. It might pop up there in just a minute. But 36% of you are unemployed and looking hard. Okay, 21% of you are underemployed and losing money every day. 30%, 36% of you are looking for a change. So there's about a dominant number of you are either unemployed or looking for a change. And I'm sorry, I don't have that poll popping up there for you so you can see the results. 7% of you showed up just because you like my voice, so I'm not real sure what that is. I'm not offering pizza or anything, so I can't help you there. So let's talk about what you're investing in your search. Then now with that information in front of me, that's going to help because think about this scenario. How much are you losing a day? Now this is particularly for those of you that are unemployed. So let's just assume you're making $52,000 per year. You divide that by 52 weeks a year. You are basically losing $1,000 per week. Now, I'm not trying to depress you, but I'm just, I'm trying to help you get clarity. It's costing you $1,000 per week to be unemployed. Now, if you are underemployed, let's say you're making 30,000, but you should be making 50. Now you guys do your own math, but because I want to make a point with this, you're losing $20,000 per year or $385 per week. Now all of these are a lot of money, and so think about. Now I want you to just follow with me for just a minute and think about this scenario. Think about what happens if you invested in me, if you had hired me at that rate, at $1,000 per week to find you a new work. Okay, you're out of work, you're invested in me $1,000 a week, or whatever the case is, you've hired me as a headhunter for you to go find you a job. Think about that, because that's essentially where you are. If you are unemployed and you're losing $1,000 a week, or for you, some of you the number is bigger, some of it smaller. It is like you've invested in some company to get your results. Now you're the company on the good side or the bad side, depending on how you want to look at it. You're the company. You are investing that kind of money in yourself, and people sometimes don't get that. But if you hired me to do it, what would you expect for me to do? That's the question I want. If you were putting that kind of money in me, what would you expect? Because that's what you are spending. So let me ask you in the chat today. I'm gonna jump back over here in the chat session, and if you answer to me, how many people have you contacted in the last week and a half? It doesn't have to be exact. If you'll just type a number in, it can be I did an email, I did a I did an interview, I went and talked to somebody, anything, whatever kind of things. How many people have you made contact with? And I'm going to go over here to the chat and say, posting myself here. All right, just so I can see that this is working. Okay. And yes, some of you are asking, will this be available later? Yes, this is going to be available later. You should get an email from this later. You are going to get the full email from what we're doing. So very few of you are answering me. Matter of fact, almost none of you are saying how many people you've contacted last week. So now for those, that's a little concerning, I guess, from those people who are totally unemployed and looking hard, and especially from you. Those people that answered that, which is about 1/3 of you, how many people are you contacting? That's a question. And I'm not picking on you, but I hope you see the point. Now I've got them there. One person has said 3. So let me again. If you had paid me $1,000 last week, would you be happy if I told you I contacted 3 people? Would you be happy with that result? Would you be happy with, and I don't know what you would be happy with. What is your 1,000 or whatever your number is? What is that worth to you? Would you expect, if you were making $52,000 a year, now you're unemployed, and you hired me, and I'm paying you, and you're paying me $1,000 a month, and I'm contacting 4 people, would that be satisfactory? Now, Here's the bad news. Um, if you were a salesperson, you would be fired. Now, that's since some of you don't have a job, that's not really helpful. But what I want to show you now is kind of what a salesperson is going to be doing. A person who's trying to sell products and services is what would what is expected? How many people would we expect you to interface with as a salesperson? And tell you what a lot of our salespeople that are doing. So let's look at the now, and obviously it depends on the types of products you're selling, but let's look at this. Um, First of all, where do you spend your time? Now I got a question about this from some people. So where do you spend your time? And some people were telling me I spend some time. There's resume, there's stuff like this. So I'm just going to tell you this is kind of a rough breakdown on where I would spend my time in the job search. Resume editing and online apps. Now when I talk to people, they spend the majority of their time there, but that's only 10% effective. Most people spend very little time actually connecting with people, except those of you that are doing interviews and stuff like that. But that's 90% effective. And that 30%, so I'm saying spend a majority of your time connecting. We might use the word networking. 30% of your time developing your brand. Now, that's something that we hadn't done in the past. In the years and years past, the idea of developing your brand was not an issue. So let me kind of put things in reverse. If you guys hang on for me for just a minute, and let's flip this around. You are the company. You're the company doing the hiring. I want to sit you in their seat. What do they feel like? And these are some characteristics. Hiring is scary and risky. It is very risky to hire you to our company. It is very scary. Very scary. Now here's some numbers that, it depends, but rough numbers, but probably still pretty accurate. It costs about $10,000 to hire a person. Cost about $20,000 to lose that person. Let me pop somebody up an email here to tell them how to get in. Sorry about that. Again, $10,000 to hire a person, $20,000 to fire a person. So it's a very expensive proposition. That's if everything goes well. That's if you don't get lawyers involved. If you get lawyers involved, this is totally out. It can cost you lots of money. They can do damage. So when most companies are looking for people, what they're looking for is character, number one, and I say see Facebook, I'll come back to that in a minute. Competence. Character is number one, by the way. Almost always character and integrity is number one, because I can teach competence, I can help somebody become competent, I cannot help anybody become a better character. That's really up to the individual. But we're looking for character, I'm looking for competence, somebody that is able to do the job, that's able to do that, and I'm looking for culture. They've got to be able to fit in, and you've seen these crazy things where they do all these personality tests and try to see how you fit, and you interview with 5 million people. They're looking for culture. Quite frankly, I think some of the those little personality tests aren't relevant, but it's what they have. But that's where we sit. It's scary to deal with you. It's not scary to go hire a contractor. It's not scary to hire a plumber. It's not scary to do these things because they're one-term deals. When I hire you, I know what you think. You think I'm now going to take care of you for life. I'm going to provide your health care. I'm going to provide you a pension. I'm going to, I'm going to name your children. I'm going to, take care of your dog when you're out of town. I mean, there is this assumption about the employee model that somehow I become responsible for you. And that's scary because people believe that, and then they call lawyers when it doesn't happen their way. What I'm trying to do on my side is I just am trying to solve a problem. I need somebody to do something because I don't want to do it myself. So you need to look at it from their side. It's scary it's actually scarier for the company to hire than it is for you to go in and interview. Now, why do we have in this HR is human resources, which I'm going to guess most of you spend a lot of time talking to human resources, or we end up in human resources. Some of us people have the idea that human resources is for the company to find great talent, and that's wrong. That's not human resources' job. Human resources' job is when we do find great talent, when we find people, and even if we have to fire people, keep me out of court. Human resources is protection, because there are so many laws on the book. You can call them stupid or not, but there's so many laws in the book about how I deal with you when I hire you that I'm just open to a lawsuit. And if you've ever had a small company and you've ever hired anyone, guaranteed you've probably broken the law. You've probably broken multiple rules, because especially if you did not have an HR you were engaging with. And so what happens is you're open for lawsuits. And of course, the larger the company becomes, the more open, the more threatened they are for lawsuit. And it's insane. I would just tell you, it's insane. So why we have a human resources department, while we do use them to help people grow and things like that, our primary role is protection. Okay, so what do we need to hear? What do we need when I'm the company, you're the company? What do we need to hear? First, we need to see somebody has character. Now, I say see Facebook back up there, and because one of the first things I'm going to do when I'm looking at hiring you or interacting with you, because you now carry the badge of my organization, I'm going to look on your Facebook page. I'm going to look on your LinkedIn page. I'm going to look anywhere I can to find anything about you. And something that you don't find offensive on your Facebook page, I might. Now, if I, there was one that we looked at that that was being hired, and this company sent me this thing, and there was she was a very talented person, but her Facebook page, her main photo that showed up that was public was her in a bikini with a rifle. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that, and the guy didn't, he didn't have any problem with her, being in a bikini or having a rifle, but he was like, this is and he was, I forget what he was hiring her for, but it wasn't the image he wanted his customers to see. So she didn't get the job, and she probably did not know why. So one of the things that when I said that 30% is we're going to search you online, is your online presence, not only is it damaging, there is that, but does it show you as an expert in the field? Are you on LinkedIn talking about the kind of things that I'm hiring you to do? If I'm hiring you as a project manager, do you appear to be part of a project management group on LinkedIn? If not, do you really care? Are you trying to grow? Are you, if you're a software developer, do you appear to be in some software things and maybe answering questions and engaging, or are you just quiet and not saying anything? So these are some of the things that we're going to be looking at, that you're going to be looking at. Okay, so now all this is some background stuff. I'm going to jump in here and talk about the what to do, though. And this is the rule of 90. And by the way, if you have any questions, or if I'm missing anything totally, feel free to jump something in the chat box. And I'm going to show you a tool that we use. I'm actually going to give you access to a free course on how to do this, and so we'll do that here in just a minute. All right, here's what our high-end salespeople do. Now, again, it depends on if I'm selling a Learjet or if I'm selling pens and pencils. They can be different things, so the numbers vary. How we do this varies, but generally speaking, when we talk to salespeople, there's a very popular thing called the rule of 90, where they work a list of 90 key people and they touch each of those 90 people per month. Now you do the math there and you realize that's a lot of personal contacts per month. And these people are not HR. Now, if you're salespeople, that's it. But if you are contacting people, HR doesn't count really as a contact. Because remember, HR is not a contact with the person who wants to hire you. HR is a contact with a lawyer who wants to defend against you doing something stupid or me doing something stupid. So what do we mean by the 90 key people? If I'm looking for work, I need to figure out who are the people that I need to make contact with, that I need to be part of their lives, if you will. So, and I want to touch them. What does touching mean? Touching means a meeting, an email, a follow-up, providing an article, a gift, a book, personal. So let me just kind of back up and give you an example. Let me actually go over, if I can make this work. Whoops, that's not what I want. Bear with me one second. All right. I'm going to share you another screen and show I believe this is what I want to share. Okay, I'm showing you right now, this is an application. It's called Contactually. By the way, they have you can go to dalecallahan.com/contactually, and that will take you through my link, which I think they give you some more stuff if you do that. But this is what's called a contact management system, or CRM, contact relation management, if for those salespeople out there. But I use it for what I'm talking about. And kind of, but I'm not suggesting you need this tool, but it will kind of help you get in a picture of what we're talking about. So let me look at this thing has what's called buckets, and I'm using this primarily to demonstrate what it's doing. So, and this is how you need to think about it. Who are your top contacts? So let's say my job here, and if you look up here where it says top job contacts, if you can see this right under the gold bucket, and you might have to zoom in something to see this, but this first bucket area right here where you see me highlighting there is my goal buckets, and you might see it says top job contacts. Now I only have 2 people in there, but let's say I first determine where I want to go to work. Now this is important because if you're just out there talking to everybody and their brother about, hey, you guys have a job, you know, there's something that's non-sincere about that. You want to first figure out where do you want to work, what industry, what do you want to do. Now if you're one of these people that I don't have a clue what I want to do, then I probably should have done this first. It would help if I knew how to share, and I apologize for the jumping back and forth here. Let me do it this way. All right, you can go to my website. Now this isn't, you know, this is beyond what we're talking about today, but you can go to my website and you can see this How to Find Your Calling. It's a free thing that talks about that. Now what I'm going to do is going to give you access to at least 50 of you. This course, it's Networking for Introverts. It goes into much more detail about how you network with power. I've never done it this much detail, even in classes. I haven't done it in this much detail before. I think this sells for like $47, but I'm giving you a code that you can get access and go and do that for free. So we'll do that here shortly. But so if you do, the key is you got to find your goal, and I'm going to assume you know your goal, and you say, here's the companies I want to work for. Then you find the top contacts. Who are the, you know, you don't want to just work for a company. You need the names of people. So I'm just going to see if I can blow this up here. So on here, and I just grabbed some names. I don't even know what it's going. Okay, so here's Cindy Rogers. She's Senior Executive Vice President at Regions. You know, so let's say I've met Cindy and I want to go. She is a top contact. I've talked to her. Maybe I went and did an informational interview with her. I met her at something, and I realized I want to work for Cindy. Somewhere in the line for Cindy, she is a key person. So that's what. She's somebody I'm going to be reaching out to. Now, I'm not saying I want to work for Cindy, but you know, you get the idea. So she is somebody. Now, why is she in the bucket? So let's back up here. Here's another one, David Cox, CIO of Alabama Power. So anyway, here's two. Now, who they are is relevant to you. These are people that I kind of work with some, but you know, these should be people that are relevant to you and not necessarily relevant to me. So you see all of my contacts here. Now, you don't have to use this tool. I'm just saying you need to get in your mind. I know some people who do this in Microsoft Excel. You can look over here and see, you know, some of my top contacts, people that I like to stay in touch with, are in this bucket. You know, and so these are buckets. Now, what's the point? If you look right here at this thing, and I'm not trying to teach you how to use a tool, but you'll get the idea. Notice it says my top job contacts. My goal is to reach out to them every 30 days. So send me a, whoops, I didn't have this set right. Send me a reminder every 30 days to reach out to every one of these people. Now remember, I said you're going to reach out to every person every 30 days. Now, again, I see people who do this in Excel, and they get the name, email address, and phone number of people they want to be contacting, and they reach out to them constantly. So what I'm talking about here is I come back to my dashboard. Now, the nice thing about this tool is it reminds you of this. But you know, you can look at an Excel spreadsheet with 90 people. So here's my dashboard, and so what it's doing as I go to my dashboard is it's, well, sorry about that. What it's doing is it's going to my dashboard and it's telling me, hey, you haven't followed up with Rebecca and with Alan and with Devin and some of these people, so you need to follow up with them. It's past your time. So it's this kind of forceful reminder. And Contactually is a tool will help me do this. Now, again, they have a free trial. It's probably $20 a month for those serious networkers. Any of those you out there, it's a great. It does a lot more than I'm showing you, but I wanted to demonstrate the concept of we need a bucket of people. 90 is probably your magic number. If it's not 90, 45. Get a bucket of people. Here are the leaders of these industries and these companies. Or maybe here's the vice president of engineering, or here is the managing sales manager, or you know, whoever they are that's to you. They need to be of the authority to hire, and they need to be people that you are reaching out to that know that you are looking for work. Now, how do you talk to them? How do you engage with them? What do you say? Do I just send them an email every 30 days that says, please hire me, please hire me? No. Hopefully that one was obvious to you, but no, we're not going to do that. We're going to, in fact, find ways to touch them that's relevant. Now, I like the first method, and again, you can find this in the you know, Networking for Introverts course. Is doing a reverse interview or an informational interview, going out and meeting people on their terms. Now, I like that methodology because it's not going out looking for a job. It's going out saying, hey, Cindy Rogers at Regions, you know, hey, Cindy, I love what you guys are doing here at Regions. I'd really like to talk to you because I'm kind of looking, but I don't know what I want to do. So let's talk to me about how you got here. What do you know what's going on at Regions? I want to get her at a personal level talking to me. Now, I don't have time to go into all that tonight, but I want to do the meeting. I want to find out what conferences these people might go to. Where are they going to show up? What networking events are they going to show up at town? Because I would like to just run into them, you know, at a Kiwanis Club or whatever. I want to kind of get to know them. I can check out their LinkedIn profile. And if you have a set number of people, you can check out their LinkedIn profile. Now, maybe 90 is too big, but whatever. You know, if my job is to sell, 90 is not too big. I'm going to know about those 90 people. I'm going to know what their LinkedIn profile says. I'm going to know what they do, where they show up, what events they go to, and I'm going to go there where I can rub shoulders strictly so they can remember me, so I can talk to them, so I can hear about their dog who has fleas, so I can hear about their daughter who's starting school today. I need those personal contacts. Remember, the number one thing we're looking for is character and integrity, and that's hard to measure. But when I find somebody who's paying more attention to me And to the people, there is a sign of integrity. Now, it can't be phony. You really have to care about them. You really have to. You can't be, playing a phony game. So, in the salespeople that I work with, they care a lot about people. They are very focused on helping people. You've got to be that. If you want to get opportunities, you are a salesperson. You are selling yourself and your skills and your all the kinds of things that you do. Now, you want to be contacting, touching these people. You can do email, follow-up email. Let's say I went on a job interview. Let's do a follow-up email. I might say, hey, is the it's been a couple of weeks. Is the position still open? Or I might say, hey, I've been thinking about what you said in an interview. I'd really like to. I have some other information. I think I can add value to this. How about we get back together and set up a second interview? You initiate it. You don't have to wait on them. You might send an email out that says, hey. There's something else that came up during that interview, and I was thinking about it, and I need to provide you some more information. In other words, you give them a valid reason for providing a follow-up email. You might even say they were talking about, in the banking industry, they might have been talking about a security issue. And so you might want to go and share with them. I'm not sure what screen I am showing here, so I think I'm showing the right one. You should see a screen in front of you that says touch. I think my other screen here is kind of backed up and getting slow. But anyway, if you don't see a screen that says touch, yell at me in the chat box and say it's not touching me. But what you want to do is provide follow-up with me. If I've interviewed you, find some reason. If we've talked about security and a banking issue, for instance, with Cindy, and I see some article that's out there that's highly relevant, I might send it to Cindy and say, Cindy, I just ran across this as I was reading through my trade rag that I do, and I thought this is relevant to the conversation we had. I'm providing value. Now, she may have seen the same article, but what that tells her is Dale is paying attention to what he talked. This wasn't just an interview gimmick. He really does pay attention to the industry, and he's trying to provide me relevant information. He's not even working for me yet. I know I've seen many people do this. They interview with somebody, and they give away information. I've seen a gentleman recently that says he would be sending the company he was talking to his contacts. So he had met with the CEO of this company and trying to get a job as vice president of something or another, I forget what. And he knew that he had some friends because he was kind of a salesperson. He had lots of contacts that could add value. So he was sending contacts and saying, these people might add some value to you. I would suggest you meet with these people. He was constantly doing this. In other words, they hadn't hired him yet, and he was already adding value to the company. Can you do that? Can you add value to the company without me hiring you? Now, if you can do that, I'm thinking, and you would be thinking, wow, if he or she is doing this now, what are they going to be like when they work for us full time? Okay, so you're offering, you're just providing information. I have a guy that is in our program, one of our clients, and he called me the other day, and he said he went into a company that he does business with, that he knows the sales manager, and he knows all the people, and he loves the products and services. By the way, that's a kind of a key issue. If you love the industry, if you already do business with that company because you like what they do, that's a good issue. So he went in, and now, by the way, this company was not hiring, and you haven't heard me say anything much about whether the company's hiring or not. So he goes into the company, asks to speak to the manager there or the vice president, whoever it was. He brings these gourmet donuts. Now, I don't know what they are. He says, for those of you Krispy Kreme fans, I don't know, I guess Krispy Kreme's all over the country, but if you're in another country, I don't know if that helps you. But anyway, Krispy Kreme are supposedly great donuts for those donut lovers. So he brings these donuts that are better, and he brings this whole dozen or 2 dozen box of donuts and says, hey man, I just thank you so much for what your company does here. I really appreciate it. You guys have been great, and I just wanted to bring you this as a gift. And by the way, here's my resume. I'm looking for work. Now I don't know if that's a gimmick or not, but he had a job before he got out the door good. As a matter of fact, he just handed the donuts and his resume and said, thank you very much, and started walking out the door, and they caught him and said, wait a minute, come back here. And this is whatever works. One friend of mine, he will send gifts just to stay in contact with people. He'll send them a Starbucks card just at random. I'm gonna give you a Starbucks card, Amazon cards, just thinking of you, and or he'll read a book that's relevant to maybe a discussion that he's had with one of his clients or customers or job prospects, and he'll send that book. He'll buy 2 copies and say this, and he'll put a note on it. Hey, this is really relevant to our conversation. I don't know if you have a copy or not, but I thought I'd send it to you. Now, all this costs money, or some of this costs money, but it's totally sets you apart. Because what do most of us do? We go out, we talk to people, we follow back up, we do anything. We're not really adding value. All we do is ask. Please give me a job. Please do this. And all you're doing is you're saying, please give me money. I mean, that's what it translates to when somebody asks for a job. Please give me money. That's how I hear it. That's like me knocking on your front door with a vacuum cleaner in my hand. I'm knocking on your door. I got a vacuum cleaner, and you're like, why are you interrupting me? Or you're saying, why are you interrupting me? I'm like, here's a vacuum cleaner I want to show you. And you translate that to, this sucker just wants my money. So you got to get past that. You've got to get past that. They just want my money, and you got to get into the I need them. You got to make people think I need this person on my team now. And I've had that happen. I've had where I've chased people out the door and said, no, I need you on the team. And I've had that happen to me in reverse, where people do that because you're adding value. But the key is touching people constantly. So that's why I asked the first question is if you are if you are not out there constantly talking to people because you want them to remember you, you want them to think about you in their conversation, in their meeting, you want to be top of mind or at least relevant, you want them to know about you. Now let me there's a couple. I will send this to you in the thing, but you can go to that link there, and that's actually on my site, the Networking for Introverts course, and you can go to the link on my site. You can go to just dalecallahan.com right there on the right-hand side, and there's a place that says Buy Now for $47 or $57, whatever it is. If you get there and do checkout and you type Next Job, it will be free. And it will download to you, and it's like 11 videos. It was something we thought we were going to do real quick, and it took us a while. That gives a lot of detail. Let me just tell you a quick trick or two that some companies do that might be relevant to you. I know one CE this rule: she will not answer you, talk to you, return a phone call, or answer an email until you've tried to reach out to her 3 times. At least. And she just intentionally ignores you. And when I've asked her about that, she says, anybody who's not any more persistent than that, I don't want them on my team already. There's my filter. It's easy. And it's shocking. Even people I tell that about her, I will tell somebody, if you go contact her 3 times because this is how she operates, I will tell her secret. I will tell her dirty little secret. And she'll tell me later, they still didn't contact me but once. So it's weird. You just set yourself apart by doing those simple things. So there's filters that people might use to determine, are you doing things. We've seen people that do interns, at the undergraduate level. They'll tell the student, if you cannot, if you come to work for me for free for a while, I'll give you great experience, for a couple weeks. And a lot of students will say, well, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go back and take a job at Starbucks, you know. And the people that do, and it's their filter. Are you going to, if you're sincere, then and you really want this experience, then you'll do that. And the people that do that, then they pay them. They pay them anyway. So you know, there's games that people might play to try to filter out what we might call the insanity of the system. Now, your job though is to go out there and make contacts. Now, so let me back up just a minute and answer a question some of you have asked. If you're in this desperation mode, like I do not have a, if I can get back there, I do not have a job right. I mean, I do not have a job right now. I'm desperate. I need to put food on the table. Then obviously that, you know, some of this stuff changes. There's less strategy. I mean, but I might be doing both. I might be saying, I'm going to change it from 90 to 45 and 45. I'm going to change the 45. I want the name of the grocery store clerk. I want the name of the manager at Walmart. I want the name of everybody, and I want to work my list of immediate critical jobs first and foremost, and then my other 45, I'm still going to be working on the big deal. If you already have one of those, you know, jobs that's underpaid, you know, and you're saying I don't really have time, then you still have got to provide the network, because what most people are doing is they're going home, they're getting on the internet, and they are filling out job ads and sending them in and thinking that's going to do something. By the way, most of those end up going to La La Land, if you haven't figured that out already. They become part of a database, and there's not much you can do with them. Somehow I've lost our screen here, so I'm on a Mac, so it has 1,700 different screens I can go to, and somehow I've misplaced you. And we can see if we can get you back here. I've never lost anything quite this bad on the Mac. All right. Let me throw. If anybody have any questions, if you'll throw them in the chat box. Any questions that are, and I've got a couple of others that people have asked me. There we are. That will kind of hit here. But any other questions that's going on? Let me look here and try to make sure that I've got some of the relevant stuff. All right. Here we go. All right, some of the questions, this is something Pete has asked, is why do companies hire people based on assessments over their ability to actually do the job? Personally, I made a goal to, well, maybe I better not read it in detail, but you know, and this kind of goes back, and you're also asking the question, why does it take companies so long to get back to me? And part of it is, again, it's there's two different factors on that, on the timing, and one is it's a scary thing to do. We're looking for a reason not to hire you, quite frankly, and the people, HR, now HR is part of a system, but the people who are doing the hiring, their job is not to hire somebody. So the vice president of sales, for instance, is not really out to hire more salespeople. He's out to sell products. Hiring that other salesperson is important, but in the midst of the day-to-day, meeting the sales numbers and everything, it's secondary. You know, it's one of those. It is very important to do, but man, I'm putting out fires, and you know, and it doesn't matter. So the people who actually make the decisions, which is why you want to bypass HR. HR can hire you tomorrow. The people who actually make the decisions and need you have hundreds of other things going on, and one of the reasons they have hundreds of other things going on is because they don't have enough people, because they can't hire. So they're kind of in this catch-22. I mean, you know, we've all been there where we've got so many things to do, we can't do the main thing that will keep us from doing so many things we got to do, and that's where you get. and you know, the smaller the company, sometimes the worse that is. But I don't know if there's a thing. But you know, in terms of these crazy assessments rather than ability to do the job, theoretically, what they're looking for is culture. Do you fit our company? Now, I will say some larger organizations get a little insane with that, and it has lost its meaning. Um, let's see. Many companies, this is a great point, David, you're saying many companies seem to discourage going around HR and hiring managers and will eliminate you if you try to circumvent the process. These usually seem to be larger companies. Amen. You're very right about that. So let me tell you how I would do that. I mean, look, I would go in the front door, go through HR, send my resume in, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. People do get jobs from that. It's just a small percentage. And here's why. I'm going to tell you one reason why there's a small percentage. Usually when a company has posted a job, especially if the company is large and it's an equal opportunity employment, if you see those terms, that sounds like that's good for you, but that also means I've probably already hired for the job when I posted it. I do this all the time. I know exactly who I am looking for, and I do this with a university anyway. Smaller companies, we don't care about this. But when I'm with a university, and by the way, this is typical. This is not illegal. This is norm. When we post a job, I'm already going to hire the guy who's been doing it the last 3 years as a contractor. I'm just now making the position permanent. That happens all of the time. And if you look in large organizations, government organizations, that's just the norm. So you need to, the person who gets the job is the one who's done the networking work ahead of time to do that. Now, how do you get around HR? I play the game in the reverse interview, and you can go to my blog and look up reverse interview. It talks about it on networking for introverts, but I'm going to give you the summary of it. I find you on LinkedIn. You're the vice president of engineering for a firm that looks really cool to work for. And maybe you're a big firm. Maybe you're Intel or something like that. Wow, you look cool. I want to meet you. And so what I'll do is I'll send you an email, a LinkedIn request, and say I'd love to chat with you. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I was looking at your profile. You seem to kind of be somewhere. I kind of want to get your feel in the market, what's going on. Now, I'm not asking for a job, and I'm being honest, because if I talk to you and you say, look, run from Intel, we're crazy, it's a terrible place to work, I want to know that. And you also, I know because the business you're in, you have lots of contacts. I need the inside scoop. Can you tell me, is this a good move for me? You were where I am once. How did you get there? That's the questions I want to do. In other words, I'm connecting with you, Mr. Vice President, as an individual, getting you to talk about yourself. Now, I go into this a lot more detail in the networking for introverts, but the key is when you get people to talk about themselves, they like you. And I now have formed a relationship. Now, I do that. I talk to you. I come back and say, thank you very much. I do the second follow-up. And by the way, you know, I come back with another follow-up. By the way, I mean, especially if I'm interested in Intel. I loved what you said. I want to work for you. I come back with another follow-up, you know, sometime later and said, you know, hey, we were talking about this, and I've noticed this article and impact. What do you think? Is this relevant? I'm researching this industry. Is this relevant? And again, it shows that I'm paying attention to what's going on in the industry. So we develop a rapport. I might find out you're going to a conference. I might go to that conference. I might meet you. Now, again, you know, for a $20,000 a year job, this is not worth it. But for, you know, more serious jobs, this is the game. You know, so I'm developing a relationship. Now, when it comes time for me to apply to HR, I'm just going to send you a little note. Hey, Mr. Vice President, I've applied to Intel. Thank you so much. I just wanted to let you know I applied. I applied, yes. Now, you know what's going to happen. The Vice President is going to now take that in his own hands. So it doesn't look like you went around HR. Now what it looks like is the Vice President just happens to know you, and he's going to get up and ask for the resume directly. Now, does that always happen? No. Do you run into boneheads doing that who don't want to talk to you? No. I mean, yes, you do. But surprisingly few times. And my experience is the higher you go in a company, the less bonehead you get. And I can't explain that, but well, I can't explain that, but generally the leaders, the higher the person is, the more people oriented they are. And so if you're thinking, and so usually the people who struggle with that approach, they're going in at middle management, and they may step up one level, and they may find people are very easy to talk to. I always find the higher levels to talk to. Um, yeah, Larry, you're saying a lot of times companies have to post externally for legal purposes. Yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, when I need to hire somebody for a position that a guy's been doing for 3 or 4 years, and he's sitting right there beside me, I legally have to spend money to put advertisements out before I can hire him. That's very typical. John, you're asking about headhunters. I would say headhunters are you know, they're good and bad. You know, there are great guys out there that do a fabulous job getting in the people, and I wouldn't shy away from them. But the thing I would look for is character, because if you don't like them and you think I can't trust the guy, then the company he's interfacing with on your behalf probably feels the same way about him, and he now is tarnishing your reputation just by association. But the other thing about headhunters is they're either on or they're off. They're looking for a person just like you in a company right now, and I'm looking for you, and I'm going to go sell you today. Tomorrow that job's filled, you didn't get it, and I'm hunting something else, and I forgot about you. Now when the job comes back open that looks for somebody like you, I've forgotten about you. So you got to really stay on them, because that's their life. It's kind of like living in a stock market mode. You know, it's very immediate what they're doing. So the headhunters world's it's pretty dog eat dog. But there are some fantastic guys out there that do these businesses, and I can kind of refer you to some of them that at least I trust. I've had pretty good luck doing that. Let's see. When you're looking for a career change, what's the best way to express to new potential employers that you're what's the best way to express that to the new and potential employers that's interviewing you? Sometimes you worry that they won't. Okay, when you're looking for a career changes, and that's where I look at is that's where I think the reverse interview kind of mentality is powerful, because it allows you to do something that's very weird. Ask for advice. And asking people for advice is very weird. It's a great way to make friends. As a matter of fact, there's a story about Benjamin Franklin, who had a very difficult relationship with somebody but he needed him. He needed to negotiate with him. So what he did, instead of going and saying, I want to try to be helpful, I want to do this, he went to the guy and said, you've got a book I would really love to read. And it's a very rare book. Of course, probably all books at that time are rare. And the guy just looks at him very weird and says, sure, and loans it to his archenemy, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin takes it, takes care of it. I think he had already read it, if I remember the story right. In a few days, he brings it back, thanks the guy profusely. They became friends. Because and asking advice has the same kind of impact with people. You're asking them for advice, and they want to help you because you're asking them for advice. Everybody is honored to be asked for advice. Let me give you the $1 million question, though, that when I get in front of people, I always want to know. And this question is especially true because I know I'm working with a lot of people right now that are coming out of the military, and they're saying, how do we transition our great military leadership skill sets, which kind of look nebulous? What are they? How do they translate? What does that mean in corporate America? How do I translate that to a job? Because it's not like mechanic or something that's pretty hardcore or pretty well defined. And here's how I look at things. You find a company you love. You find an organization, an industry you love. You get in front of people that you love, and you ask them these questions. What kind of problems are you having? What's holding your company back? What keeps you awake at night? What kind of things do you wish was happening in your department or your company, And what you're asking for is what's top of mind. What are their greatest problems? Because especially when you've moved to that level of rank, you're a problem solver. You bring people together to solve problems. And by the way, this is what all of us should be able to do. We should be able to bring people together to solve problems within our unique disciplines. But when they tell me what their problems are, they're telling me what they're hiring for. And it's shocking the number of times that you get in front of somebody and they will tell you their number one problem, and number one, they have never really thought it through until you help them get their words out of their mouth. And number two, they're not hiring for that position. But they will, because you're sitting right in front of them and they realize you can make that pain go. It's kind of like going to the doctor. If you go to the doctor and if he can make that pain go away, he's hired. And that's what they're looking for. As an employer, I'm looking for a pain reliever. And you've got to find the pain. And it is, as weird as this may sound, many times what I am asking for and the job I'm trying to fulfill does not solve my pain. It's because John left and I have an open position. I need to fill it. But that's not what I need. I don't need another John. I need a sales expert. I don't need another Sally. I need somebody who can manage the software quality. You need to find the pain. When you find that, all of this becomes easier. We've had a conversation about your pain. Now I know what articles to send you, what books to send you, how to connect with you, and to stay on top of things. John, you're saying I'm finding soccer dads for my son's soccer club is a great group of execs and leaders and companies. Should I go yell, go team, here's my resume? Well, hey, that might be a, put your resume in their bag, but I know you well enough to know, John, you're a sales guy. You know how to play this game. So, I mean, this is John, and I'm picking on John because this is a relationship game. That's really all you are trying to do is create a relationship to add value to other people's lives. All right, I think we've jumbled down all of the questions here. If you have other questions, I'm going to send you. Well, let me jump right back here one more time. Again, if you go to my website, and I don't really have to worry about this. You can get this right now. Whoops, I went too far. Let me try that one more time. Go to my website, DaleCallahan.com, look for the networking for introverts, and then you will see, and you can go ahead and enter it, and I see some people have already done this, and just enter the code NEXTJOB. There's a limited number available, but we have people on 2 or 3 different systems, so I don't really know how many people are on this webinar, but it will be replayed later, so if you're interested, go grab it now. I think it's normally $47 or something. And you can go to my blog also and search for reverse or an informational interview. But the networking for introverts is pretty detailed about. I'm showing you scripts. What email do you send to make an initial contact with somebody? What do you say to them? What do you say after the fact? In detail. I'm showing, because I get a lot of people say, what email do I write? What do I say when I get them on the phone? And I'm telling you there. And most of this, and by the way, stuff I'm sending you is pretty much stuff that I have used to make contact with other people. All right. We are a little over the 1 hour mark here, so I'm going to stop this and let the rest of you go. If you have questions for me, you can email me at dale@dalecallahan.com. I guess it would help if I actually put that there in the chat. It's a pretty easy email address, dale@dalecallahan.com, and I will be glad to help you out and see if we can't get you some, at least I think, yeah, there we go, and see if we can't get you some help. And of course, I'll stay here for just a minute and see if there's any more questions in the thing. But wishing you all a wonderful good night.